Hello everyone, welcome to the episode 38 of SoLeadSaturday. The guest we have today, Dhan Yadav Katamaraja. He is a founder of colaberry Inc and colaberry School of Data Science and Analytics, co-founder of at Refactorai, and has a massive experience in system architecture and entrepreneurship. So let's just welcome him and explore how did he find his area of interest and managing to lead that area of interest. As well as we are going to learn a lot more things about his organization, colaberry.inc. So welcome Ram, and very happy to have you on the show.
Thank you, Vaishali. Thank you for having me on the show.
So to begin with, actually, I would like to ask is that, your true area of interest shows that you are purely in the entrepreneurship side. So what does Colaberry does, and what is the story of Colaberry and how did it begin?
Yeah, so it's a interesting story. Like many of the guests on your show, it's came out of like passion, and my passion is to give back. So I came from India in 2001, worked as a developer, and then grew in my career. And I had the opportunity to go to Harvard and study general management and entrepreneurship and more of a liberal arts in management type of thing. And basically, it pushed me to think about how do I give back. And at that point of time, there was a small incident which forced me to think about, okay, how can I give back to military veterans specifically? So I realized that, okay, I can hire a military veteran as a data analyst and employ them. So that's my way of giving back. Interestingly, when I started looking, finding military veterans with these skills, especially tech skills, is really, really tough. So it decided to train and hire them. So that's how it kind of started. And after the first cohort, we kind of realized that there is a lot of need to do more of it. So, and that spiraled into we creating this training ecosystem and also a whole ecosystem that allows us to help people who are on the other side of the track with less opportunity to good paying jobs, especially now because of the whole automation. Even COVID, it pushed the whole digital transformation. A lot of people are losing jobs. So the work that we do and we have been doing is primarily helping people, give them skills, especially data skills and human skills that are necessary to succeed in the high-tech environment, and help them move into good paying jobs. In a way, we call it, our mission is around basically people ask why I want to do or why we want to do what we are doing. Our mission is we want to pass our American dream to 100,000 people. So it's in a way it's a give back story, but we are fortunate that it evolved into a business model, and also our work ended up winning a MIT Solve Most Promising Work of the Future solution in 2018 in a global competition with almost more than 1,100 companies that are coming from worldwide. So that was super exciting because it's mostly in the impact space, right? It's really impact space, and they're looking for companies that are making a big difference. And recently, this year, we ended up joining the Inc 5000 and it was also very, very exciting. And we got the rank 1541. So in a way, there is the spark of entrepreneurship, but the idea of giving back opened up such an interesting business business model that allowing us to grow. We feel like very fortunate to have the opportunity to do what we are doing.
Yeah. And thank you so much, actually. And definitely, it's very important to give back to the community, and very few people stand for it. So happy to, get your name on the list. So thank you so much for sharing. And when we are talking a lot more about this giving back to the community, what would you like to share, about the collaborative Feeding America fundraiser and AWS Deep? What is that
Yeah,
about? Yeah.
yeah, absolutely. So one of our passion is democratizing data science, and the way we want to do it is giving the data literacy and data skills to people at large. So the way we look at it is people who are afraid of technology, people who never think they have an opportunity in technology. So we try to take the concepts of working with data to people. And then this year, I worked on like an interesting project with interns. And that project is around Amazon Web Services Deep Racer, right? So this Amazon Web Services Deep Racer is about it's an autonomous vehicle programming. Basically, in a way, you are doing reinforcement learning. You're developing reinforcement learning models. And what we were able to do is we were able to partner with Amazon and create this very simple way of getting introduction to that and demystifying the complexity involved with the machine learning, reinforcement learning, Amazon Web Services, and help people kind of access this complex technology in a very fun way. So, and we did it into like a 2.5 hour workshop, and thankfully, like this is all put together by the interns that we brought in like this summer. And we did like a couple of pilot projects, and then we wanted to see how we can like really take this interesting workshop that we put together to help the society. So our interns and the team came up with the idea that we can use this workshop to teach people, but also use it as a way to do fundraising for Feeding America. Especially, there are lots of people who are suffering now because of the COVID, joblessness and uncertainty in the economy. So basically, they proposed that it's a really good organization to support, and I said for it. So it's like, hey, let's do it. So we are able to teach people something complex in an interesting way, and also use the venue to raise money for a need that is like out there right now, and it's a good way to give back and also put our skills, right? Whatever we are learning, it's a way to put the skills to good work. So, and also, I guess it's fun for our interns and our team that is putting it together.
Yeah, and that's the advantage I feel that you mentioned, that being in the technology, you can actually help a larger mass, like larger volume people.
That's right. That's right.
Yeah. And while moving towards your teaching that you mentioned already, that data science and analytics. So why choose data science, analytics, and human skill development as a core offering by Colaberry?
Yeah, so that's a good question. So this boils down to, again, people who we are serving. So again, we have the probably you heard you customer focus, right? So if you are able to focus on your customer, you would be able to do something right. So our customer, when we started, is a military veteran, are people who have like limited opportunity and probably sometimes don't know access to the technology, right? So and when we wanted to teach them like tech skills, it was really puzzling, right? We don't know how to teach them and what they would learn, and when we teach them, we wanted it to be effective. So what we kind of realized is when we teach coding,
Mm-hmm.
It's very abstract and very difficult for people to understand. It's like learning a new language, right? As an adult, you don't want to learn a new language. You have like no, and because it's kind of like difficult.
Uh-huh.
But when we focused more on data,
Mm-hmm.
basically it is like playing with Lego blocks, right? So Legos you can see, you can play around with them and build. Like it's fun for kids as well as adults, right?
Yeah.
So even I
Yeah.
play with Legos with my kid, with my son and daughter. So
Yeah.
it's fun. So similarly, like working with data is something like that, right?
Mm-hmm.
Anybody can, they can see it, they can play around with it, they can visualize it. So in a way, it's an easier tool to teach technology for people who are not digital or technology native,
Mm-hmm.
and also a lot of people they have some work experience. They may be a customer service rep or a barista or a I don't know, Uber driver, or they must have been like working something and they get some
Mm-hmm.
front end knowledge. They have some sort of domain knowledge, right? They understand the some sort of business. And when you start giving them how to work with data,
Mm-hmm.
for them it's easy to connect the context,
Mm-hmm.
right? So it's like let's say you worked on a in a finance company's customer service rep, right? Or you're
Mm-hmm.
trying to support mortgages or bank accounts or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
You understand the business. And when we teach you how to analyze financial data, how to analyze customer data, it
Mm-hmm.
just clicks like that, just so simple, right? And then when they start like working with the tech teams and people like probably like you and me who studied the programming and like came to the trying to like make things work, when we put them together, the result is like usually amazing. So in a way, data first learning is
Mm-hmm.
easy for people to learn, and so that's why we do that.
Mm-hmm.
And it also and the other piece is, uh, you are in data science, you know the data is exploding.
Uh-huh.
Probably 50% of the jobs in the world need some sort of data skills, right? So
Mm-hmm.
without that, that's
Yeah.
the future. That's the future.
Yeah.
That's the future of work. So that's how, and it made sense for us to do that, and
Mm-hmm.
the right time, right place, and it caught up. So that was great.
Mm-hmm.
So that's why data skills. And
Okay.
then there is interesting concept about human skills, right?
Mm-hmm.
So people used to call them soft skills before. Now that narrative is changing. Recently, MIT put together a framework around human skills development, because they don't want to call it soft skills because they're not soft, but
Oh.
instead they're human, right? So it's like
Mm-hmm.
critical thinking, collaboration, communication, and
Mm-hmm.
time management, or capability to communicate and interact with others, and all these like various things, right? So these are human skills. The traditional way of developing these skills is, right, you either do a workshop or you're doing mock interviews, or
Mm-hmm.
it's a very one-on-one person oriented, right? So
Mm-hmm.
um, without these skills you don't get a job and you can't succeed in your career, and they are really important. But at the same time, this is some of the most difficult skills, though they are called soft skills. They are difficult skills because to obtain. So we looked at, okay, how do we use data analytics, data science, artificial intelligence, computer vision type of things
Mm-hmm.
to help people be better versions of themselves,
Mm-hmm.
right? So it's we did like some really cool stuff, and we ended up, as part of our competition at MIT, we ended up winning a artificial intelligence for betterment of humanity prize. So that was like, wow, this is really cool. But but it was interesting for us because we are using technology to help people develop these human skills, and
Mm-hmm.
we're able to use data science and data analytics to do that. So which is which in a way is like very gratifying as a techie guy. I was used to solve all business problems. Now I'm like, oh, I can use it for human development. That's great.
Mm-hmm.
So Yeah, so that's it's one. Yeah, so those are the reasons. Those are the things like data skills and human skills that we try to focus on.
That's great, actually. And when we're talking about a lot more about learnings as well, right? Would you like to share more about any specific programs that you deal with, and why learning by doing method is important, do you think?
Yeah. Yeah. So we try to deal with like few courses. So we again, if you take like a typical online course or any other program, you find there are tons of programs that are available for people to go and like do it. We don't do a lot of programs. We do very specifically focused foundation. What gives like the skills. So one is we focus on data analytics as the core foundation,
Mm-hmm.
which involves basically from SQL to databases to
Mm-hmm.
data cleansing and visualization pieces. And then we have a stack around. We teach
Mm-hmm.
Power BI, Tableau, Click, Python type of things. And then there is another stack where we teach data science, machine learning, uh, artificial intelligence like type of area. So it's a stacked model, and we just focus on these areas. And in these we start with instructor-led learning, and then shift people to become into self-learning platforms.
Mm-hmm.
So instructor-led learning start. I keep getting tons of times the questions about it. You're doing it in online world. Why are you doing instructor-led learning?
Mm-hmm.
Why not? Why can't it be just self-learning? And but self-learning works great for once people knows how to work with technology. Once they know how to work with how to deal with it. But most of the times, who people we are working with they need like a hand to help them to
Yes.
get to the next level. So we start with the instructor learning mode, and then take it and empower them to become self-learners.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, so it's a process, and we have been very successful and
Mm-hmm.
thankful for having the opportunity to do that. So yeah.
Yeah, so it's a very valid point, actually, to empower, to make them eligible to do by self learning. Definitely some kind of a mentorship or the guidance is always required, and that definitely important that you get it at the early as well in any field, so that you can grow in a particular direction. So thank you so much for sharing. And moving towards, already you shared a lot of things about colaberry, actually. So would you like to share some success stories of people who graduated from colaberry programs?
Yeah, I mean, there are like some very interesting success stories, which are also foundation for our innovation, right? So, for example, as part of the human skills that we develop, it was created because we are trying to help a military veteran. And that military veteran, he was from Africa, and he is a math major, right?
Mm-hmm.
And he has math, I think, and he's a math major, really smart guy, but working as a cable box operator, right?
Okay.
Because the reason for that was he has a severe stutter,
Mm-hmm.
right? So he can't speak. So and that's why he never got a job.
Mm-hmm.
And when we started like talking to him, we didn't know like how to help him. And at that point of time, um, I don't know whether you saw the movie. There is a movie called King's Speech,
Mm-hmm.
and in that King's Speech movie, uh, the king has stutter and he needs to give a speech. He never gives a speech, but he needs to give a speech. So they use the audio. What they do is they make him hear what he is speaking by putting audio headphones on him, so
Mm-hmm.
that his fluency like gets better. So I was like, oh, well, I'm going to try that out. What am I going to lose, right? So instead of like the audio, like what we did is we are like, okay, record your video. So usually as you are going through it, you submit assignments, right? So as submit assignments, we said, you submit assignments, but we also want you to explain your assignment in a video. Right?
Yes.
So it worked, the experiment worked. And in 6 months, he ended up getting a job as a quant at a hedge fund company, right? Which is truly the job that he deserves. His stutter did not change, right? His stutter is still there, but what happened is his confidence changed, right? Because it's like he's able to record all these assignments, and he is able to listen, and he is able to watch, right? And that allowed us to create this whole platform around the human skill development. So people who are going through this platform, they record the videos, and we run computer vision and give them feedback, and they are like, oh, you are talking slow, you are talking fast, you should look straight, like type of feedback, right? We could give them, and they get a dashboard of all their videos and their analytics and things like that. So in a way, we are automating the whole mock interview process, right? So and make it a lot more informative for them. So that's one of the innovation that we kind of did. Right, and that was like one success story, right? And the other thing, another success story was there is an organization called Year Up, and it's one of the largest nonprofit organizations in the United States, and they focus on skilling the urban city youth, at-risk urban city youth, and help them get into internship jobs. Right? So I had a conversation with their CEO, and I told them that, hey, we know how to teach data analytics for the demographics of the you are trying to address, and they didn't have the capability to to deliver a strong data analytics program. So I started like working with them, and we are like, wow, it's going to be easy. We know how to do it, but what happened was when we went and like started talking to the students and like try to understand how they would learn, etc., we realized that they have access to computer only 2 hours a day, right? So if you have access to computer 2 hours a day and you are trying to learn data analytics, there is no way you are going to succeed, right? After like a 3 months or 6 months course, right? Because you just sit in the class, you listen, and 2 hours computer access, and boom, done. So, and these kids, when they graduate, they're supposed to go and like work as interns at Facebook and LinkedIn's and PayPal's, the world, and there is no way that they're going to succeed there. It would be just basically it becomes more like a corporate social responsibility initiative rather than a like effective outcome. So to solve that problem of having access, we had to innovate, right? So our innovation involved creating basically taking all the data science tools and putting them on the cloud and giving them what we call skill cloud, right? So that way they don't have, instead of like 2 hour access, they have access to all these complex tools from their Chromebook or from their iPad or whatever, like this thin device that they are carrying. So now they can access this from their library, from their home, and everywhere. And unfortunately, there are a lot of kids who doesn't have access to good computing power. So that allowed us to help hundreds of kids, right, transition into internships at this large Silicon Valley companies, right? And some of them got permanent jobs, from data engineers to data scientists, like various types of roles, portfolio managers. So that was like another interesting success story. It's in a way, the journey has always been exciting for us to do that, and also about 45% of our programs are women. Okay, and almost like 80 to 90% are like in general like minorities. Around 45% of them are women. So one of the interesting story about one woman who now works for us full time is she was a single mother. She lost her job, and she got another job which paid less than her previous job, and she had like two kids, and she had to choose between paying rent or paying daycare, because her income was not like good enough. So because she wanted to work, she chose to pay daycare, and so that means she cannot pay rent, and she got evicted. So she was living in her car, living in shelters with kids, and like trying to like get by. And she came to know about us, and in after like 6 months, she started. She got a job as a data developer, and moved into like good paying career. And then she worked in the industry for after a couple of years, and now she came back and joined us to become a program success manager. She wants to like just like I wanted to pass on, she wanted to help everyone else who is going through the program and help them succeed. So yeah, so it's a lot of interesting stories like that I can talk all day.
That's great, actually. I'm started feeling really great to have you on the show, and many thanks, actually, whatever your organization is doing. Definitely, it's very good initiative to help the society and the strugglers who are planning to get the stability in their lives and trying to earn as much as is needed. So thank you so much for sharing that. And moving towards, as you're talking a lot more about how the human skills development are important. So I would like to ask is, how do users develop tech and human skills on your platform? And would you like to show it to us?
Yeah, I'd like to show it. So before that, I mean, let me also tell a little bit about you. I mean, you are definitely an inspiration to a lot of young people, right? So, and I've been like watching your work since you were in school. And I tell a lot of people who come to me, you know, what should I do? Just go and like watch Vaishali and follow her,
Oh, thank you so much.
follow her so, to succeed, right? Because you put yourself out there and you try to you try to showcase like what you got, you would succeed. And congratulations on having your own show. This is
Yeah, thank you so much. Really
awesome.
appreciate
This is awesome.
it.
So yeah, I mean, let me see if I can share like some of the things that we do. Um, okay, you need to enable screen sharing, I guess.
Yeah, I'm enabling actually.
Okay, all right.
Are you able to?
Yeah.
Mhm.
So one of the things that we do as part of our work is, like I said, we depend a lot on data, right? So basically, so these are all the people who are going through our programs, and they are in our platforms, like trying to go through it. And as you can see, like everyone has like scorecards around like how they are performing. So what that does is this scorecard. Okay, this person is 103%, meaning they beat the expectation out there, like that's in the class, right?
Okay.
So yeah, so we use data to tell people how whether they are succeeding or not. So one of the interesting things about data is we provide almost like real time input to them. So probably I can show you like some of the uh, information. So we kind of like show them what is their active hour of the day, like day of the week, or what are the various activities that they are doing, daily efforts, and how their weekly engagement scores looks like. So we provide them information like this, and across like various programs. And our objective of like giving some of this information is Lot of times when you are learning things, you have like no idea whether you are learning or not, whether you are succeeding or not, right? And also you constantly have this fear of, okay, maybe you are failing because you failed a test, or maybe you did not score well in a particular in a particular module or something like that, right? So, and this the demographics of the people who we are like trying to work with typically face failure their entire life. So they're constantly failing. So when they see a failure, they feel that it's a failure, right? And so our goal is to tell them that, hey, this data that belongs to your profile is also someone who has already gone through this program and succeeded. Just because you are failing at this data point doesn't mean you are failing in the entire course, right? Just because you are succeeding in this particular data point doesn't mean you are succeeding. But instead, all you need to do is just keep accumulating this data, right? And accumulate the performance metrics and like put your time and hours and homeworks in place. And eventually you will learn enough skill to kind of like succeed. So this is we use like data to give them data driven guidance instead of like getting bogged down whether I did something right or wrong, whether I'm doing good or not. Instead, just look at your data and you're good to go, right? So that's one of the pieces that we do. And the other thing, so what that does is that creates one accountability for them, and that also helps them to compete with others. Like they become like competitive and like better their scores, and that too, and that score is really not about how amazing they are. That score is really about, are they developing habits, right? Are they developing habits of like working on something, putting enough time and effort into it, and are they continuously growing? So that's one of the ways that we do. And the other is here. I'll just show you.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Almas, and today I'm going to talk about.
So if you see these two videos here, right? So there is this one video which she posted, right? And here, like this is like we process in the back end, and basically it comes up saying that, okay, hey, it's continuously like changing. So probably you are seeing this facial analyzation videos on LinkedIn and everywhere, right? So here what we are doing is we're actually giving them feedback around, okay, hey, your face is straight, you're this, your facial expression is like this, your background is like this. So similarly, we give input on their voice modulation and how many words they are speaking per minute, and also what words they are using, etc. So we give this feedback to them, so which allows them to kind of like develop their own develop their own way of like how to get how to improve. So for example, if you look at this particular dashboard, right? So this dashboard gives them the capability. So if you see, it's like just starting a little uncertain, but as you keep going down, you can see like the body language changes, right? Using hands, and basically there is more assertiveness in her expressions, right? So in a way, basically we are using this artificial intelligence mechanisms and the feedback mechanisms to help her get better by herself, right? We don't really have to give her like any feedback, but she can just look at it and be better. Every time you are on a video, I mean, you are a host, you every time you want to look better, talk better, right, and communicate better, right, every episode, right? So it's similar thing for the people, and it just allows them to be a better communicator and be a better learner. So this is like some of the things that we do. I mean, it's so it's basically, this is like one of the things that we did as part of like developing the models. We developing the algorithms to do that. And I'll show you like another. Let me show you if I can see another interesting. So this is the video of one person, his journey. Okay, in a quick video. So he's working in a warehouse, right? So as a an actual like warehouse bottling warehouse, as a warehouse associate.
My name is Nate Outlaw, and I am happy and excited to be here today. How you doing? My name is Nate Outlaw. Today. Hello, my name is Nate Outlaw. I am the senior. Hello, my name is Nate Outlaw. I'm the senior member here. Hello, my name is Nate Outlaw, and how you doing? My name is Nate Outlaw, and I would like to talk about Union Hall and merge. So
you know Union and all merged, right? Yeah. so if you just think about it, right? It took so it's a person who is working in a warehouse, right? And then we were able to help him find himself and transition into learn the skills and transition into a data warehouse professional, right? So now he leads data warehouse projects and works in, I guess, like Power BI and SQL and like big data spaces, and it's super interesting to kind of see how his career transformed, right? It's not that he didn't have potential, it's just having the right tools and how we can use the data and all the like various technologies that we are using to solve business problems, instead like how do you solve human problems that we have. So that's one thing that we use of data and others. And then the learn by doing is like a really interesting concept, because it's especially in skill development, and the learn by doing is the best way to learn. It is like proven, right? So most of our work involves so in a way we don't teach people in stuff, but instead we make people do it, and then we'll explain you, and then you explain us. Right? So do it, we'll explain it. So so learn by doing is like the core principle that we adapted to teach. I mean, of course, like lot of engineers, the core way is like we do it and we like learn it. So that's like common mechanism. But it's we try to make it into a very part of our like ecosystem, right? So and how do we do things? So that's and when we are doing instructor-led programs, they are we give them assignments, they do it, etc., and they do it. And then once they move from instructor-led to the self-learning models, right? Then how do you implement learn by doing model, right? So it becomes a little complex. So what we did is I'll just show you. So this what we did is we hacked Jupyter notebooks, okay, and we created a learning platform on top of Jupyter notebook. So what you are looking at is actually a Jupyter notebook, okay. So and we basically everything is kind of so for example, this is a the data story by Hans Rosling. So probably you have seen that video on TED, and that was like one of the. And so this is like one of the notebooks that explains people how to create the same visual, right? So what we do is we give like a little bit of content around it and explain it, right? And they go through the course. And these are all the Jupyter notebook cells, right? They can go and like edit them and like code them, right? And they just go through it, and at the end, by the end of the exercise, like they would be able to like just run this model, right?
Yeah. Wow.
So
one more question I would like to ask
yeah.
about curiosity. So this generates your profile online as well, like you can make it public.
Yeah,
Oh wow.
that's that's a really good question. See, I mean, you are an engineer, so you kind of know like what is possible, right?
Mm-hmm.
So that is exactly like what we are doing like next, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I mean, so you can, so this is like one of the models that we are doing, and even the AWS workshop, the Deep workshop, also we did the same way. So this is all like Jupyter notebooks. And
Mm-hmm.
usually, like when they come in, they learn like reinforcement learning, basically deep research model initialization. So this is all the content is kind of available, and they just, so this is like the notebook of reinforcement learning. You have the video and stuff,
Mm-hmm.
and then as they are like go through this, I mean, they have to go back, they have to go to AWS platform and come back and like do it. But the interesting thing, what we are doing is when you want to edit, and when you edit a notebook,
Mm-hmm.
we basically clone what we have
Mm-hmm.
and make it your own. Okay, so
Mm-hmm.
you have your own notebook available on the cloud, and then uh, and when you commit it, it goes into your personal Git repository. I mean, we kind of like
Mm-hmm.
uh, remove some content,
Uh-huh.
but we kind of make the content that's your own and what you wrote. For example, you worked on a lab, so that's your lab, that's available, right? So you can edit it and it's available, and you commit it, it goes to your personal GitHub account. So that way you are learning, and we are also helping you create your digital footprint on GitHub, which is really important to get a job, right?
Yeah.
So, and also we are making this particular these notebooks and assignments, all those things available online for you. And it's in works. It's not fully baked yet, so we are like working on it. So the way, I mean, I'm probably jumping ahead here. So we are creating this platform like for hiring, where people can just go and like post their portfolio. So for example, we have, so this is where all the profiles would come up, and in those profiles, like each person, their portfolio like starts showing up, right? So,
Mm-hmm.
so what are the various notebooks, like everything that you created, like everything would show up. And for the hiring managers, again, like this is like in beta, and we still have to push like a lot of things here. So
Mm-hmm.
for the hiring managers, it's not necessarily resume anymore.
Mm-hmm.
It's a resume plus the work that they did and their videos, and basically they're connecting to their GitHub and connecting to their like LinkedIn and everything. So that's something that we are kind of enabling, especially with everybody like working from home. It's the skills become
Mm-hmm.
like a lot more important. How do you enable like skill-based hiring, right? So it's an effort that we are doing. But yeah, I'm glad you asked, that you could see
Yeah.
that we could publish these
It's great
things.
actually. If you can make the profile public, all the work is out there, and then employers can definitely see that. Actually, they don't have to go for any other proofs. Actually,
That's right.
they can just simply see that.
Yep,
So that's great. Actually, I loved your platform. So thank you so much for sharing,
no problem.
and we can proceed further for the next questions. Uh, so moving towards our next question is about you already mentioned about the Refactor.ai actually. So just to summarize, would you like to elaborate to the audience?
Yeah, so the Refactored AI platform is really our attempt to bring the data science to in a self-learning model. Especially, I'm fascinated about you know Code Academy, where you learn probably your first Python coding, your first W3 schools, where you learned your first HTML and CSS type of thing. So our goal really is, okay, can we bring the data science to
Mhm.
people, and basically you can edit it, and you can like play around with it and learn it type of thing. So that we hacked like Jupyter notebooks and created this platform, and it's super exciting. And also like you mentioned, can we give the opportunity for people to make it the profiles public? And we are creating this marketplace around it. The objective of that the marketplace is, there are two primary objectives. One is, how do we empower a job seeker to continuously build their profiles, learn and build their profile, right? And also, how do we empower employers to do skill-based hiring, look at the profiles and hire, right? So these are the two objectives. And as around like these two objectives, to empower the to empower students or like the job seekers, right? So we are working on curating various data sets that are available and give them, hey, this is the data set, and also give them some high-level instructions around how they could solve those data sets, right? Let them solve it. Let them solve it and share it and have. We also have some. I think there is some sort of auto grading system that is there that looks at the code and gives some ranking to it, so that it's available for you. And also, we're working on embedding this human skill development piece into that. We don't know how much people would actually use it, but we use it a lot in our in a very structured model. But we have to see whether people would post their video and have give them, hey, this is how it works or not. We still have to test it out. I'm hoping that it would be an exciting feature for people to use. But we are giving this opportunity, and we are looking at creating some tracks. So one of the interesting track that we started working on now is, especially of COVID, is we suddenly realized that ton of people lost internship opportunities. Right, there are jobs are not there. Even if they're looking for internships, they're not there anymore. And also, like, ton of people, especially internationals, they're just sitting. Maybe they have a job, maybe they don't have a job. They don't know what to do. So we are creating what we call like OPT track. So it's like a 12-month course where they can go learn Python and work on projects, right? And like continue to develop their profile, and all this work that you did would be visible and available online, right? So in a way, you're not if you don't have a job, you are not wasting time. Instead, you are working on building your portfolio. So this is because we built it with Jupyter notebooks. Instead of like a traditional content management system, what it gave us each notebook is like a Lego, right? We can just them like in whatever way we want. We can create mini courses, micro courses, tracks, everything. All we have to do is shuffle these things around. So that's something that we are like kind of like trying to put it out there. So so it's again like Refactored AI. At very high level, it's a marketplace where we want to empower individuals who want to develop skills and put their and also showcase their portfolios out there, and also allow employers to hire based on skills and just look at the skills, look at their work, and hopefully human skills as well, and get it out and make the hiring decisions.
So it definitely actually pretty impressive platform, and I would encourage the audience as well actually to do check out both the platforms. Actually, I love the colaberry as well as the Refactorai. So definitely do check it out. And moving towards our next question is that, we are all in the pandemic situation. So how do you feel about future of work scenario post pandemic, and what types of jobs would come up, do you think?
Yeah, so the pandemic, what it did is it accelerated the digital transformation. So all businesses were looking to invest in digital transformation. Now this accelerated that, right? So what should happen in the next 10 years is going to happen now. So the idea of people going to work is going to basically lose its attraction, and it's going to be more about work going to people, right? So so now what that means is the businesses are going to make tons of investments into digital transformation. They are going to push the gas on making basically like cutting jobs that are traditionally done and just creating like new jobs around working from home and working digitally, right? So that's that's going to happen. And then a lot is going, at least from my observation, a lot is going to be driven by data, and so everybody needs some sort of data literacy, because when you are in person, you can have conversations. When you are not in person, all you can, the conversations are based on data, right? So you have to uh, you have to produce some data and get, and that data would be analyzed. So the data will data is supposed to become the central. Now it's going to become the core piece of every piece of task that humans do. So I see a lot of hope and opportunity in the data field and the tech field. The other fields are going to have a lot of disruption, but I think most fundamentally, the responsibility really lies on the people in tech to figure out how to engage people who are not in tech, right? And instead of looking at them as, oh, okay, they don't know tech, they don't belong, they don't belong to this job. Instead of that, we need to look at more as an inclusive mechanism. We need to look at, because a society functions, or a company functions, or anything functions by having various minds and various various people contributing like in various forms. So we should, it's our responsibility as the people who are in the front lines of the tech to really think about how we are going to be able to help people transition, how we are going to help them, and that's where I think our creativity should be. That's where I think. I mean, it's ironic that we got this award, that AI for betterment of humanity, more in a kind of like accidental fashion. But I think that's really the should be the center thinking process for all of us, right? So it's just not about business bottom line, which is important, but it's also about how can we use our technologies instead of alienating people out. How can we use the technology to bring people into the system, and how can we empower people with this and be more inclusive? That's I think in a way the pandemic has created a lot of disruption in everyone's life, but I think it's also an opportunity for innovators to look at the world in a different fashion and make it like more inclusive.
Yeah. Thank you so much for sharing. And when we are talking a lot more about future of work, I would like to ask, is colaberry ready for future of work ahead? Clearly, MIT Solve recognized your platform as the most promising work of the future solution. So do you think, is it ready?
We are always ready.
Right?
So again, so yes, so we are, so like I said, we are doing all things that are possible and what in our capacity to help people on the other side of the track and who are less fortunate. But at the same time, we also focus a lot on enterprise and business, what they are looking for, and provide them like the solution. So it's a combination of both. Like it doesn't, only one piece doesn't work. It's a combination, and both has to work together. And yes, I mean, at the core of how we think and how we operate and where we invest and where we innovate is very much driven by future of work and work of the future, right? Future of and the difference is future of work is disruption. Work of the future is really how people are going to work and what skills they are required. So that's at the front and center of it. And I would say it's just not us being ready to work in the future of work, but I think it's everyone. It's a moment of reckoning for us. Everyone should think about it and see how we can make the future of work and work in the future, which is like now, accessible for everybody, and inclusive and equitable for everyone.
Yeah. Thank you so much. And it truly shows that you are a leader actually. So I would like to ask, what kind of a leadership style do you have, and any specific leader that you always follow or admire?
Oh, that's a tough question, because I mean, so uh, for me, I'm kind of engineer. I get you asked like a really tough question,
No,
but so
leadership, right?
so yeah, so I have like two basic principles. Like one is servant leadership, and
Mhm.
other is example, basically lead by example. So these are the two things that I try to do. So when I say servant leadership, anybody who we hire, I mean, we're a small company, we're not a large company, but anybody who we hire,
Mhm.
I look at them as somebody who I'm hiring for life, right?
Mhm.
So, and what that means is I have to invest them so that they can contribute back to the organization, right?
Mhm. Mhm.
So that means we spend up like almost a month to sometimes 3 months just helping them get accustomed to like what we are doing, and how we do things, so that that the result of that would be they love what we are doing and they want to be here, and we don't have to like worry about they leaving it. I mean, people have choices, but that's one of the things that I do. And then lead by example is really about a lot of times uh, when you face problems every single time, and it's difficult to solve the problems, and also people might be a little scared about like raising their hand or like doing things, right? So I try to basically, if I see a problem, I try to jump on it and be there and help solve it until I feel that my need is not there anymore, right?
Mhm.
So that's once I see my need is not there anymore, and basically people can take it forward. Again, at the end of it, the core aspect to my leadership is empower others to
Mhm.
succeed, right?
Mhm.
So if I empower them to succeed, then I don't have to work. Like
Yeah.
honestly, I don't want to work. I want to be lazy,
Yeah.
right?
And that's
But,
right. Yeah.
but yeah. So but a lot of innovations comes because you are lazy and you want to make life easier. So, but yeah, so I strongly believe in the idea of like empowering others to succeed, and if they succeed with me, I will succeed as a leader and the business succeeds.
Yes. So thank you so much. And definitely that is a very valid and important leadership style to have actually, so that everybody will be empowered. So that's nice. And moving towards the last question of this show is that what are other projects you are considering right now?
Oh
Like,
yeah, I mean, I'm always like thinking of a ton of projects. So, but I would say one of the uh, interesting projects that I am trying to pursue at this point of time is uh, it's related to giving the internship opportunities at scale to people, right? So, in a world where we can outsource work and get it done from anywhere in the world, right? Um, it doesn't make sense that the people don't have internship opportunities, right? How do you get work experience, right? And without giving the opportunity to work,
mhm.
and so in so that's an interesting project that I'm trying to pursue. So this summer I had I think about there are about 7 interns who joined and working with us, who put together this Deep and Feeding America Fundraiser workshop. So I'm asking them, hey, tell me how can I have 70 interns, or maybe 700, maybe 7 million interns, right? Right. So I mean, it's typical tech. You could do anything with tech, provided you create a structure and a platform and have people do it, right? So so one of the things I constantly think about is how do I automate myself, right? So that's so that means we have this internship program, and how do I automate it, right? So that means every internship probably has a certain structure, just like our classes have certain structures, just like any learning has certain structure. The internship probably has certain structure. So I'm trying to create this project which allows people to sign up and go through a certain process, which probably feels more like an internship. Probably self-driven internship, or maybe there's a group, or maybe there's a mentor. So if we can sign up mentors from the industry to guide them, that would be awesome. So, but that's a project that I'm trying to work on, in the sense, being efficient. Can we create 1 million internships every year on a platform? Why not, right? So, and yeah, so that's something that I'm trying to work. And if not million, if I could do 100, that would be awesome, right? Being a small organization. But yeah, so that's one of the projects that I'm working on. And other important project that I'm working on is the MIT has released this human skills framework. And their objective is really how to codify human skills and measure them in such a way that people can and others can take that framework and implement it. So we are working on taking that human skills framework. We have done ton of work, as you can, like I showed you, but we are taking that human skills framework and see if we can build a more a solution that's that could be used by, of course, us and everywhere else. That's another project that I'm looking at. So
thank you so much sharing, and I really appreciate your time, and I'm really grateful to have you on the show. So thank you so much, and audience, definitely you are going to enjoy this episode. We have discovered and learned a lot more about the colaberry and the Refactorai, and they are definitely standing for good initiatives. So definitely watch out this episode. And as I always say, until we meet, happy leading. Let's lead together. Stay safe. Bye for now.